You know, I have made an attempt to attend every single subcommittee meeting, every single reporting meeting for the last two budget years. And in those meetings, time after time after time, I objected over and over again with recommendations that were not 13.25% cuts to get to the 900 million. I objected with new programs. I objected with new studies. And so while the claim is that the bipartisan document, I think you can clearly say it was a process, but I don't believe cherry picking ideas given by my caucus members, for instance, in DOT or DMV, expanding privatization of services in AAA, or doing other things. Those are ideas that we share. We brought those to the table. We fully participated, but it's not our plan. And to suggest that it's a bipartisan document in that way, I don't think is true. The process is certainly bipartisan, and we fully participated, but I'm not sure that I could ever say that this document is bipartisan. The problem that I have, the largest problem I have with where we are right now, is that the perception we're giving to our taxpayers and our businesses and others is that we are truly blind to the so-called new economic reality of Connecticut. I think you heard me many times say, if I hear that term one more time, my head is going to explode. And yet here we have a document that frankly does not actually address or show that we really do understand the new economic reality. And so I know that there's been a lot of frustration with some members of this committee regarding the negativity. We're always being negative. We can't seem to be positive. But here's a classic example of why. Because even when we want to acknowledge the hard work and say people made some tough choices, we're not fully there. We're not fully there because we didn't do the work we needed to do in the subcommittee process and make additional cuts, which my caucus said over and over and over again. There's bad things in this budget. There's good things too, but I need to acknowledge a little bit of both. For instance, in the bad column, I would talk about our debt service. Once again, we're underfunding our debt service. Per OFA, we're underfunding it by almost $26 million. According to the treasurer, it's $46 million. That's a problem. It's a problem for our business community because they're wondering if they're going to invest in Connecticut and we're still not dealing with our long-term debt issues. It's bad because it puts our credit agency ratings in a perilous situation. We have unfair municipal aid cuts in this document. We have additional cuts to the safety net. One of the largest problems I have in this document is the falsehood of labor cuts. The personal service line has been cut by over $239 million. In fact, you show in the comptroller's budget a $10 million cut to the Social Security tax. All of those things lead you to believe that there are significant labor reductions to the workforce. And yet, when you look at the employee counts, they haven't changed at all. I think if we're going to be honest about how we've balanced this budget, we have to at least be honest about identifying the number to get to the fiscal note of these cuts. The large number of special transportation fund transfers, like for the first time ever, transferring our educational bus transportation and putting that into STF. I sat in that meeting, and I have a lot of respect for Senator Hartley, and she made a lot of tough decisions. She cut spending by $19.6 million, but then to turn around and add $48.2 million into funding into STF takes back the hard work that was done in that committee. The insurance fund has additional sweeps in it. So we've transferred over $51 million. Those are some of the bad things that the Republicans would never put forward because we have problems with those long-term structural changes, and debt service is the number one. Now, on the good side, there are some good things that I'm glad to see in this document that I think were reflective of our ideas. Additional reductions of OT, the privatization of group homes. I like the idea of creating a Medicaid supplemental pool so that there's a separate line item for our hospital community, cutting the RSA account, Legislator contributions to our health is critical, but it's not enough. 20%, that's $1 million. We know we can do more. To transfer JJ to CSSD, I think is very good. Acknowledging that we made a huge mistake in not funding our probate court system, I think is a very good recognition. And I said before, the identification of AAA and expanding privatization areas. But you know, we worked in a bipartisan way with the DMP. The Republicans put out their plan and we said, here's $220 million. That was responded to with your plan of $190 million. And we said, okay, we're getting there. It's incremental, but we're getting there. Privately, there was another plan submitted to us. It still wasn't at 220. And we bared down last weekend and worked hard and provided a lot of good ideas to get to that 220 so we could preserve municipal aid. You are so far away from that number in this document, so far away getting even balanced to the 900 or 940, and God forbid worse after April. We need to see additional good faith efforts in making these numbers work so we can get in the room and work together. But it's going to have to be more than the governor's cuts. We knew that for the last 2 months in every single subcommittee meeting I've attended in. 5.75% was his reduction, and at every single turn I asked for 13.25 just to show we could get to 900. And that's my frustration. So I would like to see some more good faith effort, and if we see that, we're open to talk. But it's frustrating for us because we're not there yet. So as somebody said to me earlier, it's like we're making a cake and we haven't added the baking soda, the eggs, or the oil. And we take it out of the oven at 150 degrees and say, here you go, it's ready to eat. It's not ready. We have a lot more work to do.